Hey Jackson, if you realized your job might quietly disappear while everyone insists things are fine and ignoring AI, what would you do, or what would you consider the right decision to make in that situation?
If I think my job's going to disappear,
Right. Because AI, but everyone's gaslighting you. They're saying, no, everything's fine.
this is my daily struggle. I wake up and I say, everything's fine. Then I get to work and I say, yeah, I'm not going to have a job in a year. I mean, I don't know. I guess just keep trying to level up skills outside of my normal job, but also just write it out till it dies. Collect the paychecks until they stop coming.
Okay. Well, this was prompted by an article on 4chan. Pearson CEO, the AI job apocalypse is a Silicon Valley story. Data tells us a different one. So you might actually be okay, but you're probably sick of people saying your job's in jeopardy whenever you don't actually know for a fact that AI is affecting the job market. So real quick, some key takeaways from this article, and then we'll get into it. The AI job apocalypse, if you're following the market, if you're following AI news, you've heard that term. You keep hearing about, it's essentially just hype. It's especially from the Silicon Valley businesses. When we say Silicon Valley, we're talking, the Metas, the Googles, they're doing mass layoffs. But what we're seeing is the actual labor market data doesn't show AI-driven job losses yet. So this article argues that there's little evidence that AI is causing mass layoffs. There's a study by Oxford Economics and find that the AI impact is patchy at best. A lot of AI blamed layoffs are actually just overhiring during the tech boom during COVID. There's economic slowdown right now, high interest rates. There's normal cost-cutting cycles. So in other words, companies are using AI as a convenient explanation. Companies will use layoffs as a way to pump the stock price. And then when you also put gas on the fire by saying we're leaning into AI, shareholders get even more excited. But here's why it does feel like an apocalypse right now. Tech, especially software jobs, are just changing. The way that we're working is changing, and it's not set in stone what the 9-to-5 is going to look like in that world. Silicon Valley, these companies crying that we're replacing jobs with AI are at the tip of the spear. They're at ground zero. They're the ones building AI, so they're going to be more forward on all this. And it is true that entry-level engineer roles are getting squeezed more than others right now, but that's kind of always been the case. No one wants to willingly hire juniors whenever there's seniors available. And so what's actually happening with AI and how it is affecting work right now, it's just reshaping what work looks like. Sorry, I just had a stroke there. It's not wiping out entire jobs yet. Most industries haven't seen a major disruption. There's broader labor trends are still going to have cyclical slowdown, hiring corrections, and shifting skill demands. That's just normal. So right now, this article and the study it's citing is showing no mass unemployment from AI. There is real change coming, but it's a lot more gradual than Silicon Valley would have us think. The panic is ahead of the data. There is no data showing that this AI job loss or the job apocalypse is actually happening. So that was a lot there, but I think it was a pretty good overview of the article there. Like I said, yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Jackson? I know that we've talked in the past about companies pumping AI.
Yeah.
Layoff.
Yeah, I think that when it specifically comes to AI is causing these mass layoffs, I think it's a perfect time for AI to have entered the market, coinciding with companies needing to downsize their staff. Because like you said, that tech boom of like the COVID time when money just got so cheap, companies hired like crazy.
Yeah.
And just way inflated their staff. And then a few years later, they have the opportunity to downsize that staff while also being rewarded by shareholders because they're going to say it's because they're using this brand new technology. So it seems like they're optimizing their work, even though it's not necessarily the case from what I've seen. But it's like the perfect excuse to reduce your headcount. I feel like we've seen with AI, I think devs and non-devs can generate way more code faster, but it doesn't necessarily reduce the amount of work that needs to go into it. So you still need developers, you still need technical people. I don't know, it's interesting. I don't think it's an apocalypse like a lot of people feel like it is. I think we're seeing that there's still a big need for people that are more technically inclined. I saw something, I can't remember the source right now, but they were saying a lot of companies are rehiring already for jobs that they downsized from last year. And oftentimes it's the same people they cut because they know the product, they know the business. So it's just cheaper to get them back. Companies are rehiring roles that they cut last year.
Yeah, so companies are rehiring the roles they cut last year. We saw an example with Elon hiring back a lot of the people that he let go of at X. I think the government is rehiring some people back, and after the Doge things happened, I think there's nothing wrong with cutting the fat, realizing what constraints are there, and then bringing it back. Obviously, it causes some chaos, but that is a way to do it. And engineering, and Elon has said this. Elon has said this when it comes to engineering. Whenever they were coming up with the initial Tesla designs, they would remove as many parts as they could to prove that they were needed, and then bring them back when they saw that that part was actually doing something. And his concept was to do the same thing with employees. And so you could do that. I think that a lot of companies accidentally did that.
That's a dangerous way to go about it, though, because the morale in your company is going to be low if you're doing that too often. Everyone's going to feel like their turn to get cut is just around the corner. So you're not probably going to get the best work from the people that you don't cut.
Yeah, it's hard to get people to do what you need them to do when they don't trust you. A lot of business relationships are built off of having some kind of trust. So whenever people think they're going to get fired, I think you think like you better work harder, you're going to get fired. It's like, well, no, they're just not going to trust you to recognize the work they're doing because you just laid off their friend who did some good work.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we've spoke before about how all these companies doing layoffs, Meta, Google, Apple, they were doing layoffs. The stock price would come back up, and they would say it was due to AI because AI is cutting jobs. But in reality, it was from that bloat. A lot of companies saw it personally. I don't know about you, saw like a lot of hiring happening during COVID, especially hiring and very inflated salaries. People were coming in at, a salary 30 to 40% more than they would have been, 6 months before that, because that's just how the job market was. And so when the opportunity comes to lay off those inflated salaries, you're going to do it. And also the magnifying glass gets put on those people because when you're looking to cut costs, and it's just an economy situation right now with just the global political climate right now. Things are kind of iffy. I mean, not this week. This week, things are great. But the past few months have been very wishy-washy, and we're starting to rebound now. And so in that uncertainty, global stuff and economic and political things going on, it's going to cause some uncertainty, causing businesses to want to lay people off, especially the higher paid ones.
Yeah. It'll cause them to be more conservative because they're worried what's going to happen next month. I feel like during the hiring boom, companies just needed people in seats writing some code. So they hired a lot of maybe, I don't want to bash anyone, but like people that weren't, super knowledgeable, but they knew the basics of how to code so they could do the small tasks. And with AI, it kind of fills that need. If you just need a button on a page, that's like the simplest thing for an AI to go do. So they were able to downsize those roles, is what it seems like.
Yeah, and we've consistently said AI is going to change the way you work, and you have to make yourself valuable in this new world of work. It doesn't mean that you're immediately laid off because AI makes you faster. It means you're expected to get more done. Yeah. I'm very confident on the fact that the tech layoffs have bottomed. And to prove that, do you know prediction markets like Kalshi? Yeah.
Okay. I took a trade that said 2026 will not have more layoffs than 2025.
Okay.
So I think we peaked in January. I think we're on the way up. I think hiring's about to pick up a lot. So I feel like, go learn these AI tools and get hired again.
Yeah. I think definitely we have a lot going right now with people discovering how AI is going to actually work. I think we're finally getting to a stable point where nothing's going to blow our minds now at like the normal AI user level. Everything now that is huge advancements are pretty technical, like the new open source Google model that runs on smaller chips. Most people don't really care about that. They're just going to get a better model that runs on their machine, or their companies will spend less on GPU. But with OpenClaw and people forking that and rebuilding it, I think that's going to become more of a standard. So we're going to normalize a little bit. There's still cool things that people don't know about, but the tech industry, at least, who's most affected by this AI thing, is going to level out this year. It's going to be normal to be building AI agents into our products and using AI to build products. People are going to get used to it, just like the internet. But also there's other things happening where, knock on wood, if the Iran peace talks go well and the strait does get opened up, it's going to open up the economy even more. So right now we've already seen, just from some conjecture, I guess, that the market has caught up to where it would have been if it didn't have the huge dip over the last 3 or 4 months. At least I'm seeing that in my investments. Things are starting to pick up. And it was just, when it rains, it pours, right? Whenever the war happened, the strait got closed, gas prices were like $5, $6, $7 a gallon in some places. And then on top of that, there was the Claude Cowork killing SaaS. Everything kind of happened at the same time. And now we're kind of leveling out. That's becoming normal. I think 2026 could be a huge boom for a lot of people's portfolios, because whenever we get things in the releases handled as they're going to be, at least for the next year or two, and AI stabilizes, I think it's going to be in a good spot.
Yeah, well, we might start seeing some of the return from AI show up in companies' actual numbers.
Yeah.
Speaking of like software coming back, though, it's still scary. I saw Figma was down like 10% once Claude Design came out the other day. So people are still worried that software companies are going to zero.
Yeah, well, and I don't think that there's a doubt that some software companies will go away. And ironically enough, my portfolio is very low tech. We talk about this all the time. My portfolio is pretty low tech, heavily in infrastructure and energy.
Yeah.
And so that's just where I've been, just because of whenever you go build a bunch of data centers, infrastructure and power are what's needed. But then also, like, when vehicles change their fuel systems, it's still the same power plants. Everything needs steel. Everything needs some kind of fuel. And so I'm happy that I've made that decision. There are some tech, I'm in AMD, but I'm not in NVIDIA. That wasn't really a calculated choice. I just decided to choose one.
Hey, AMD's doing good now. They just made a deal with France to be their go-to GPUs for the country's AI. So
yeah,
you're good there.
Yeah, but I do think the Anthropics, the OpenAIs of the world, is going to be tough for them because, again, people are going to build out infrastructure, especially if you're going to run an OpenClaw. Just go spend a couple grand on some Mac Minis and run it locally.
Yeah, I am interested in the long-term life of those like main model companies, because they can spend all the money to develop the cutting edge models, but then if people can catch up in a month or two, how much does that lead last, I guess?
Yeah, no. I mean, the freemium or the open source to paid model has worked historically for a lot of businesses. It's a pretty good business model. And so I think they'll probably be fine, especially if they keep adding value. Like, I know Claude and OpenAI have like a drag and drop agent builder, so you don't have to write code to build an agent, which is pretty sweet. And so you can open up for more people to build their own agents, and that'll be appropriate for some companies. But a lot of companies, over, I'd say 100 million, 200 million a year revenue will be able to opt for on-prem and build their own systems because they can build out an IT team. Which, if you're in IT, that's what you gotta look into OpenClaw and look into hosting LLMs and all that.
Yeah, for sure. So let me ask you, with probably the last 12 to 24 months of just hearing software dev as a job is done, we're not going to need this in a few years. Do you think that shook out, let's say, like college kids that are wanting to go into computer science? Do you think that kind of made them change their plans? Or
Probably.
I mean, I'm trying to ask, like, the ones that stuck with it probably are the ones that are going to go deeper into it and be able to use the AI tools more to their benefit rather than people just looking to, learn basics of how to code and then move on. Do you think that's like a net positive to the computer science programming industry?
Kind of like a self-selection bias, right? If you stuck with computer science through all of this, you probably see a way forward for yourself. And so that is a pretty good filter. So there will be less computer science graduates, but the ones that do it they would have been more successful regardless because they stuck through it because they actually wanted to, versus the person who did computer science and is a good student, but they did it because it's in every org chart.
High paying.
They're the highest paid individual contributors at any business, so it makes sense. But now that's just going to be a little different, and I do think computer science may get more difficult. I mean, a lot of the programs are pretty difficult right now. They're on par with the other engineering stuff, but the boot camp thing is going to be interesting. There will be some computer science people that will be revolutionizing models, and then the boot camp people will just like nitty gritty can install OpenClaw and vibe code their way to build solutions. I think both are needed, but also you could send a normal employee to a boot camp.
True. Yeah.
Be the person that goes and builds stuff.
Yeah, for sure. We're seeing that at the company I work for. They're already having people from accounting just spin up open code and automate their own processes. So that's definitely where it's going for that.
Yeah, we're seeing that too. People building their own tools for their stakeholder for a part of the website. They can build their own testing and their own foundation of APIs, and it's super valuable.
Yeah, I think it's just a net positive because you weren't going to get around to building that tool for that accountant. So the fact that they're able to get that done and use it, that's just a benefit.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening to today's episode of Infacto Daily. If you're a small business owner or you work in a small business and you're looking to see where AI fits, you can go to infactodigital.com. We've got free resources. You can sign up for our daily newsletter where we send this kind of knowledge to your inbox every day at 9 a.m. We would love to see you there. And we do free webinar, free courses, one-on-one training that you can RSVP to. You can find that all at infactodigital.com. All right. Thanks, Jackson.
Thanks. Love you.